There we go, I think. Okay. All right. Again, thanks for showing up. And let's go ahead and start. Now, you probably already know this, but one of the things that's so fantastic about feng shui is that by changing an environment, and it doesn't have to be just a home, as you'll find out, you can really change your life. You can change the life of a client also. I know in a lot of cases we think of we're just changing a particular home, but you're going to find out that in a lot of cases, businesses are very interested in what we do. And you're going to find out that Lisa and I are more of the practical sort with these things. Very, very common sense. We like to back things up with research, scientific studies. But I do want to mention some people who are going to be very interested in your expertise, and they're probably going to want to talk with you. Your family's probably going to be of interest. You can be able to help members of your family. And of course, your friends and even your coworkers. But there's so many people out there that could really use these skills that I hope that you decide that you want to pick up. I want to go over some ideas of how we actually make a living, how we spend our days, our weeks, our months. We help people with building of a house. I've been involved myself with several homes going up, looking at particular features. This is a biggie right here, evaluating existing homes. And I have helped somebody from a dorm room to a multi-million-dollar mansions. Landscaping is a big part of things too with feng shui, as you may or may not know. And to me, it was one of the reasons why it was of a lot of interest to me when I tell you how I got involved. You certainly can help an owner or a realtor sell a home. And those are very, very important things, of course, also for you. Just had somebody join us. You certainly can improve offices for productivity. Now, believe it or not, we're going to be going over how you can help an office improve productivity, but also holding on to people and making sure that they are part of the team. We aid with health issues of an inhabitant. We can help raise the energy to attract new opportunities for people, anybody in a house or in an office. We enhance a career or job searching. Often I've been brought in just to make a home feel more comfortable. And as you're going to find out, that is an extremely pivotal thing for being able to make a home feel comfortable, whether you're selling it or whether you're going to be staying in that home. I've had a lot of dealings with evaluating homes for buyers. And also you get hired to help with color selections, furniture purchase, even lighting. I don't know if you know what a space clearing is at this point, but that's another feature that feng shui consultants are brought into once in a while. And then even the part of helping people with respect to their achievement in schools or their creativity, trying to unblock certain things. These are just a few of the things that Lisa and I are brought in to handle. Now, I wanted to show you some statistics. These are statistics from Google, okay? And Google, as you're going to see, there's actually 10 things. I'm only going to share these 3. But Google is constantly having people searching for things about feng shui. These were produced by Google. I had nothing to do with that. But every day, there is many people that are typing in the words feng shui. And as you can see from number 2, every second, one person's looking up something about feng shui. Now, how I got started with feng shui was very simply this. I was a real estate agent. and broker owner in Charlotte, North Carolina for a lot of years. And I already was a certified home stager. I knew how important it was to make sure that the home looked its best. And for those of you that are real estate agents, I'm sure you can understand that it's very pivotal to try to make it look as good as possible. But sometimes some of the real estate agents out there are fine with putting a home on the market immediately. I never felt comfortable doing that. So again, I became a home stager, and it did help. But anyway, one day, a consultant, feng shui consultant from California, sent probably a mass email to real estate agents around the country about feng shui and real estate, and I got intrigued. So I sent away for the tapes and started listening to them. And lo and behold, 2 days later, I was given a listing in my neighborhood from somebody who had tried 2 other real estate agents and had no luck with them. You know probably how that feels if you are a real estate agent. Anyway, they decided to try the feng shui guy because I was at that point sort of known for that. And so I went down there. The house had been vacated. They had moved to Winston-Salem. And I thought this was a perfect opportunity for me to be able to try something out. So much to my wife's probably not really being very pleased about it, I took a few items away from the house, down to the vacant house, put them where Susie Miller told me I could, decided to follow her ideas about open houses, and I held an open house that weekend. And I got an offer. And not only were my clients extremely enthused, of course I was too. So I started using it with all my listings, and I found it giving me a lot of really positive results. And my clients loved it, just loved it. And it opened up another avenue for me where I was, again, sort of unique, you might say. And so my business flourished. I got so enthused about it, I decided after a few years doing this that I went to my partner and I said, David, I'm going to sell my part to you. I want to do nothing but feng shui for the rest of my life. So that's what's happened 15 years ago. That's how I got started and how I got so enthused about it. Okay, so I'm going to turn it over to Lisa right now and let her tell her story. And Lisa, I want to give you control. If you could send that to me.
Sure, yes.
And then I'll let you go ahead and tell your story.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Okay, so I think I have control now. There we go.
Yeah, go ahead and tell them how you got involved.
Okay, so me, so much like if feng shui consultants, we always talk about energy and how it flows like a river. So my involvement with feng shui has actually very much been a meandering path ever since I was very young. I was lucky to grow up in a household that was very creative. I was an artist, a big design background. And very early on, growing up in the Northeast, I knew that I'd be spending a lot of time indoors. And I found that by moving things within my environment, it impacted my sleep. It helped me sleep better. It helped me be more productive in school. It helped me be more creative and more open, and my spaces were more inviting. And I didn't know until I was a little bit older that what I was doing was practicing feng shui. I always had an interest in energy, and I even dowsed and played with that, and color theory and such. When I grew up, I read many, many books, much like many of you have told me you've been reading books about feng shui, and it can get kind of confusing, all the different schools, and it feels very difficult at times. So I would read a book and practice a few things here and there. And yes, I had a lot of success with what I read in the books. But still, I just didn't feel, any real ownership until I got older. I spent 20 years of my life in live television management. And through that experience, I learned the importance even more, even greater of the impact of an environment in communicating with others, creating safety and security, not only for people who are on TV, helping to coach people present on live television, and creating that welcoming space for a viewer watching the television show. So being a producer at times, and even in my management roles, coming down to set, people would say, watch out, here comes Lisa. She's going to say that's not very feng shui. So life dropped me a lot of hints that I should be doing what I'm doing today. And finally, I'd say, I think it was in 2013, I was selling one of my favorite homes. I was selling, and it wasn't getting the interest that I thought it would. It was in the area that I live in, a 3-2 bungalow, really cute, great location, desirable area. It wasn't getting the traffic that we were expecting, and my agent was cutting the price and cutting the price. And so I did a little bit of space clearing after people who were coming through the home. I used aromatherapy and music to set the stage, but something was missing. So I called in the big guns. I went online and looked for a feng shui expert, and I came across Steve. And I called him. I said, Steve, look, I see you have these books out. You really know what you're doing. I need your help selling my home. So I made an appointment with him. He came out and gave me a wonderful consultation, very actionable reports, very simple DIY things I could do over the course of a long weekend. Very little money was put into staging my home. And I tell you, right after doing that, the energy shifted in my house. I almost didn't want to sell it. And I didn't have to make any price cuts. As a matter of fact, it sold for the original asking price. And the person who bought it so quickly offered for me to stay there and rent at the price that I was paying already so I could find a new home. I wasn't prepared. So it was just a magical, to me, like a easy flowing, easy going process once feng shui was in place. And I go back to that body of water that I talk about in the meandering of water. And there's an allowing that happens, clarity and an allowing of things to flow better, feel better. In fact, sitting across the table at the closing of my house, the investor said, you know what, I got to ask you, what is it that you do? Do you practice yoga? And I was like, here and there, but not really. But I knew what he was picking up on was the good energy that Steve and I cultivated in the house. So my agent after that was a believer. We still keep in touch. And, that was like the trigger for me to pull to, okay, this is it. I'm going to get my certifications. I'm going to complete my studies. I took Steve's staging course. And that really opened my eyes more to the Western world of feng shui, BTB feng shui. And that is where my educational career in feng shui, steered course. It was more modern, it was easier, the results were faster. And, that combined with a landform, which is also what Steve and I joined forces on in our courses, in our program, landform feng shui and BTB feng shui it's like a dream marriage of practices. It's me being in my consultancy. It's very relatable to anyone, any walk of life, whether I'm working with someone in a staging for real estate, also in the commercial world, if I'm looking to match properties with investors, even just the residential work that I do, from interior design to co-creating spaces that really speak to the occupants. their personality comes across in their home, which is so important for a space to actually feel like home. So yeah, I'm very thankful for the date that I reached back out to Steve 5 years after we met, and I said, Steve, you know what? I'm feeling this calling to practice feng shui on a deeper level, and I want to do this full time, not go back to my management career. And I met with him at a McDonald's 3 weeks postpartum after having my son, who's now 1. And you know, Steve said, "All right, let's do this. Let's start the school." You know, Steve is an excellent educator, and I'm sure you'll come to understand that more and more as you talk to him. But combining his supreme educational background with feng shui and the real estate, and then combined with my background in marketing and TV, it was like a, you know, a harmonious relationship. So we were able to quickly get started. And just the way our school came together in the period of time that it did and flowed so easily is a testament to feng shui working. Our business was built using feng shui principles and inside and out. And that's really why we had the aha moment. We're the intrinsic school of feng shui. We want everyone that we meet to feel the benefits that we do and live life that's inside and out feng shui. And it radiates to those in your family, your friends, your coworkers. And certainly when you're coaching someone to be more successful, it radiates to them as well. And it's really, if you're looking for a profession where you want to put your head on the pillow and know that you did something wonderful with your day and feel rewarded, this is the profession for you. So if you're feeling that calling, I just want to bring that assurance to you that energetically it's rewarding, and it's the perfect profession for someone who likes to help others. If you have that calling to be a helper, and also it's full circle back to you and uplifting you as well. So that's my story in feng shui, albeit very meandering. It was something I should have been doing all along. Yeah, so any questions before I get into the real ingredients of our program for Steve or myself?
No,
I hope it, I'm sorry, go ahead. Sure.
I don't have any questions. I'm good.
Okay. Feel free though, anytime you can even just, you know, wave your hands if you want to take a pause or go back through anything. But I hope that you're enjoying this Zoom experience. It's the way that we educate, especially in this time going through COVID. We're finding that it's just as effective as we miss our personal event time with people, but Zoom allows for you to have an interactive classroom experience that you might not expect. And it's also wonderful because it allows for us to record our courses. So if for any reason you miss a bit of it or you need to go back and review something, we have an extensive library that you'll have access to forever and be able to continue to come back and review and hear people's conversations. And so that's been like a hidden gem in our evolving more towards virtual. We are looking forward to getting back into live events and seeing people in person. And so we'll definitely keep you posted on that as well. So what you receive when you decide to become certified with us, and this is a package that we spent a long time putting together. We wanted to stand apart from the rest of the schools and really cultivate a family relationship with our students and our graduates. So we're really proud of that. We have a quarterly newsletter, and we have continuous conversations with our groups. powerful tips and the latest research in human psychology. That's really important to us. We're forever educating ourselves, and we encourage you to do the same. Knowledge is very important in feng shui, and we're always nurturing that spirit of knowledge and education. We also offer help throughout your career at no extra cost. So weekly, daily, we're still talking to our graduates and helping them get off the ground. And we're so proud of them and their successes, and there for them, if they need help looking at a floor plan, or I know, Steve has been having some great real estate conversations with some of our realtors, and I'm always there to help, from the big or small thing, even the marketing side. These webinars are recorded, you get them the next day, and then they're published on our site like I was talking about. It's invaluable, and I don't think there's many schools that have this resource, this rich resource that we have. A feng shui toolkit. So we actually present a feng shui toolkit that Steve and I have both spent a lot of time putting together. That is all the ingredients that we have that makes us a success in our own consultancies and school. So it's valuable. You don't have to learn the hard way. You can learn from us, and we give you the tools for success. Your membership to the International Feng Shui Guild is paid for the first year. And I'm a big champion of the International Feng Shui Guild. I'm even on the welcome committee. I love it. I have so many friends in the guild. We talk so often. There's panels that we attend. They help support you with marketing as well. And there's a directory. So occasionally some of my clients will come to me from the guild, from a referral from a fellow practitioner who's looking for someone in this more local area, or from the guild itself. Someone will call them and say, I'm looking for someone who specializes in XYZ, and they'll refer them to me. So that's a wonderful resource. And we feel this is important that you have a certificate that you can hang. And just that symbolism in itself, hung with intention, is very rewarding. I don't know about you, where you keep your certificates, but I highly encourage you to display them. And there are some special places that we encourage you to display them. The use of our logo, which is shown right there for your marketing. So you can beef up your credibility as you're out in the market. All of our PowerPoint slides that you might be interested in are emailed to you. So if you're taking notes, you might want to put together a binder, and you can print out the slides for yourself, take notes on them, keep them forever. Even as you get started, you might want to take this binder of notes with you as you're out in the field. And then checklists for the home buyer, seller, homeowner, and doing a business consultation. These checklists took us so long to compile, and you're getting these all with our course. You may come up with your own checklist down the road, something that's more fitting to your consultancy or your business, but we're getting you off on the right foot, so you have the templates to start with. And that's important to us. We want you to graduate with your professional certification and jump right in. And that's what we're seeing our graduates do. And it's really exciting and empowering for them to have the tools as well. Wherever you have access to this video library, it will continue to be enriched with more and more content. And I think we're just coming up with more and more ideas each time we go about this. And I have to credit much of that to our experience with our graduates. Like I go back to the culture of our school is very much a family, and we're a think tank. We're masterminds at this. So everyone is expanding, and so will our library, and so will the benefits for you as well. So the schedule for July 8th, the class kicking off for part 1. So on the 8th, we are going to go over an introduction and scientific studies. We try to keep this time frame consistent so you can just put it on your calendar. You know when to expect it, and we can address any scheduling conflicts if needed. So 8 to 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So then we return on the 9th with the flow of energy. And energy is also referred to as qi. And we're going to cover the yin-yang theory. So you may be familiar with that Tai Chi symbol. I love that session. It's one of my favorites. On the 13th, we're going to cover the Bagua. How many of you are familiar with the Bagua? The energy map. You might see it on Pinterest if you're scouring the websites for information on the Bagua energy map. That's really exciting because you can start visualizing this Bagua being used in your spaces. The 5 elements, the 5 earthly elements. This is something we're going to spend a lot of time on so you really understand it like the back of your hands. The Bagua and the 5 elements. So we get started with that very early in the program and we revisit it until you know it. We cover landscaping and feng shui cures on the 16th. This will be exciting for you. I know when we started learning about and implementing cures in my studies, that's when the light bulb went on. The door was open to all the possibilities. So this is very exciting. Again, on the 16th, the 20th, we discussed the magic square and the origins of the Bagua. And so we always like to interweave not only history, but science in our teaching. And, as much as we can, we want to give you the full picture so that you're fully equipped. You might find when you get to this stage as well, too, that when you're searching on the internet, you'll find materials that are inaccurate. So you'll be able to, things will jump out to you and you'll say, nope, that's not accurate, I know, feng shui. Video, you'll watch a video on powerful. We like to talk about and remind you how powerful we all truly are. We're all born with a sense of intention and intuition. And that's one of my favorite videos to watch. Very inspiring. And then we're going to deep dive into flow and yin and yang. We'll look at a lot of examples. I'm sure you're going to have very many questions. I think that's pretty fun. You'll feel open, interactive. You'll really get to know a space when you walk in. Where are the imbalances? And how are you going to correct those imbalances? And then buying a home, before and afters on the 30th. And that is part 1 in a nutshell. I think it's very comprehensive. We're really proud of part 1, but we're very excited about part 2 as we get into the certification course. This is where we really get into the rituals and the ancient wisdom. With the I Ching, Yi Jing, as it's pronounced, spelled I Ching, mudras and mantras. That's an exciting way to kick off this session here. The Yi Jing is an ancient book, and that's where a lot of the origins of feng shui principles were born. The Yi Jing is also a text that is used for divination. So interpreting how we relate to the world and the environment. It tells us a lot about the world we live in now, even though it's so ancient. So we'll spend a great deal of time, 8 to 9:30 in the session on the 3rd, covering that. And yeah, just mind blown when I learned about the I Ching. If you haven't picked up a copy and you're curious about it, pick up a copy of the I Ching and also a workbook. And that's a real eye-opening book to read. And the forewords are very educational, and the stories and the folklore. Very interesting and very relatable at the same time, even though it's so ancient. On the 6th, we're going to be watching a video on using feng shui with real estate. So we put a lot of the gems that Steve has learned in his profession and in mine as well. Steve can tell you anything there is to know about real estate, and his experience with feng shui and real estate will knock your socks off. No one else has this type of information. You may have picked up his book already, but if you really want to know, you want to tune in for this. That's on the 6th. The 8th, we're going to talk about building plants, space clearings, and I think many of you might have dabbled a little bit in, maybe you've constructed a house on yourself. Maybe you've worked alongside an architect or designer, but we partner often with people who are in this field, and we can tell you a lot about a building and feng shui and plants as well. I think during this time with COVID, I've seen more and more people in social media talking about the benefits of plants than ever before. And it makes me happy because plants are very important in feng shui. And you'll learn about the various benefits, the uses, where to use them, and space clearing as well. I've seen a lot about space clearing. It's more pop culture mainstream now. It's effective not only for your personal life, but also in your professions as well. We're going to be watching, and that's a longer session. So that's from 9:30 a.m. to 3 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We want to make sure that we cover this information with you in depth. You'll have a lot of questions. It's a lot of fun. We found in previous sessions that it was hard to wrap these topics up, so we allow a full day. The 10th is a video on staging a vacant home. Steve talked about this in his experience. I'm sure you have experience yourself in staging spaces and creating vignettes that attract attention and make a space feel welcoming. We also talk about wealth cures and universal design. If you don't know about universal design yet, and you're in the profession of real estate or building or architecture, you want to tune in for this. We have our finger on the pulse, and we found a way to incorporate feng shui. So that is on the 10th. One of my personal favorites to talk about is relationship cures. I don't know if you have any interest in it, but I promise to make it interesting and fun and humorous at the same time. There'll be an assignment given, and we'll talk about green and green energy and green. What does it mean to feng shui? So you'll definitely want to tune in for that. There are some cures and rituals that people always find interesting that were passed down through our Grand Masters. And we saved this secret type of ritual for part 2. And the video on prospecting and feng shui cures is, on its own, is very sellable. It is, no one else that I know in what we're doing teaches you how to prospect the way that we do. Steve, I don't even know what your LinkedIn account is and your audience that you have already. I know it's upwards of like 16,000.
Yeah, it's over 16.5 now. Yeah.
So it's over 16.5. He is one of the top ranking LinkedIn. If you're on LinkedIn, you're probably connected to Steve already. He teaches you a lot of the secrets to prospecting. We use LinkedIn a lot. It's a very underused platform, and we teach you a lot of the secrets that have taken us a long time to learn and fine-tune and develop. So these are things that you can use for your existing business. You can use it for creating groups of like-minded people, however you want to use it. We teach you about prospecting for clients. On the 21st, we deliver that feng shui toolkit information that I was telling you about. And we review, we make sure that you have everything that you need, setting up your feng shui business, the importance of the guild and how we use it, We go over the newsletter. We review the assignments together. And I think that in itself is a big confidence booster for people before they go out into the field. Reviewing all of this together, asking questions. It's kind of like a hoorah before we move on to graduation and meeting on the external world. That's from 9:30 to 1 p.m. So it's a little bit longer of a day, but we are dedicated to it. We know it's what makes our students successful. And again, we don't just cut you loose and say goodbye, farewell. We're there with you every step of the way. And that's really, really important to us. Any questions? I know that was a lot. I feel like I was talking a lot.
Yeah,
So
anybody have a question? Please.
I do.
Yes, Elisa.
Elisa,
Elisa.
what do you expect from us? Like, when all these things are going on, like what do we do in the interim between like lesson 1, lesson 2? Are there like assignments? Are there, is it basically listening to you, or is it, doing things as well?
I'll let you take that one, Steve.
Yeah, there are, Lisa, there are some short assignments that we ask you to do, and making sure that you review the information, and then the next time we meet, we will then quiz you a little bit. But the big assignment is really more in the second part, which probably has to do with maybe your personal house. It could be your business if you wanted to. But yeah, there are small assignments that we just want you to at least try something. But I think that's about it. Does that answer your question?
Yes, it does. I was just curious, like what you expect as participation from us.
Yeah. I mean, there's no test, so you don't have to worry
Thank
about
God.
it. I get that question every once in a while. You don't have to worry about that part of it. And again, if you
Right.
miss something, it is recorded for you.
Okay.
Get it sent to you no later than the next morning, probably that evening actually. But
Okay.
it's sent to you no later than the next morning. You can always, before we then get back together, get in touch with us if you don't understand something. We do that a lot. So
Okay.
please understand, this is an ongoing process for 7 weeks. It's not you just show up and watch a webinar and that kind of thing. So there's an awful lot of interaction. You can get as much out of this as you want to. We are there for you. So we would love to have you ask us questions in between.
Okay. Thank you.
Sure.
Yes, if I can add on to that, Steve, I find that, and he's right, we're not going to put you on the spot or make you feel uncomfortable. You'll find that if you're comfortable talking in these Zoom environments, that you're going to feel safe in asking questions. And so it's a group learning. It's very much a group process. So if there's a confusion about an element, you'll find that very often everyone is confused about that same element or cycle or that floor plan placement. Everyone struggles with that. So it's not, no one is left behind. If you need a little extra work, we're here for you. But in my experience, everyone is paced right along. It's very natural. And we do a lot of repetition. So in our modules, you'll see, we'll go through a lot of examples. So it'll just become second nature to you.
Okay.
Yeah, we do a lot of befores and afters, and you're going to also get an awful lot of reviews from one time to another too. So it's not like we just expect you to totally understand something and then we just drop it. We continually try hammering away at certain things that are so important that you understand and become an expert at those things, so that you can then go to the next thing and feel confident about it.
So it's basically, I'm sorry, one more question. So it's basically like, let's say you're starting from ground zero and you're working your way, you're building, and you keep just
Right, right.
like adding on to the top and just keep going up.
That's right. I mean, we really, the whole thing is based on that idea that we have to give you, you might say, the fundamentals to start with.
Right.
Okay. And then we keep going back to the fundamentals and build on them. But you have to, excuse me, you have to understand this particular things really well before we can really get to part two.
Right. Okay.
Yes, it's very much a scaling process. You know, if you're building scaffolding to climb a building or to get higher, we're not going to miss anything on the foundations of that. We spend a lot of time with recapping or redoing before we get to that next level. So I'm very confident that you'll just continue right along.
Okay.
We continue up.
Anybody else have a question? Linda, Victor,
Yeah.
anybody?
Yeah, I got a question. Is there going to be any required continuing education like we do have in real estate?
No.
Okay.
No, there isn't. I'm old enough to tell you, I remember when there was no CE.
Yeah.
And and that was sort of a shock to the system for me.
Mhm.
But yeah, we don't have that. The governing body for feng shui is the International Feng Shui Guild. We do put an awful lot of emphasis on that. Like you've already heard from Lisa. We pay for your first year. We hope you enjoy it. We hope you partake. They have constant information and classes that you can take for free. But you don't have to go. You don't have to take it. But it's a great organization. The minute I got myself certified the first time, I have 3 different designations, but when I got the first one, I was recommended to get involved, and I'm glad I did. And I know Lisa is very deeply involved with it, and but we think so highly of the guild that again we pay for the first year. It costs $118, so to give you an idea. So
Okay.
hopefully you want to keep up with it the second year and so forth. But we feel so strongly about it that we start you off.
Well, then what about you said you have 3 certifications. So as you know, in real estate, you can continue your education and get certified in many things. So how does that work in feng shui?
Well, if you take this class, you don't really have to take anything else. There are so many different schools out there, Linda, that they all have a little bit of different twist to it. So I was always looking into other areas to see if it was something that I really liked, something that I could add that I maybe hadn't come across before. But no, you don't have to take anything else. This particular course gets you totally certified. We are gold standard from the Guild, which we're very proud of, and not all
Okay.
schools are, but you don't have to. But again, you're going to find out that there's other schools of feng shui, and you probably are going to want to maybe delve into it sometime and see what they have to say. And maybe it might be something that you'd want to add to your practice.
Okay. That's good information. Thank you.
Sure.
So now we
Anybody
just sign up, right?
else? That's right. That's right. Anybody else have a question or? Okay. Well, I guess then that's going to be it for now. If you have something that comes up that you just didn't think about, please just shoot us an email. Okay.
Perfect.
We would love to talk to you. If you want to talk on the phone, that's fine too. So we do that a lot. And we appreciate you showing up and at least getting to meet us, hear our
Yes.
voices, and see what we're all about. And again, we hope you decide to join us and stay with us, and we would love to make you part of our family. Okay?
Thank you, Steve and Lisa. Appreciate it.
You're very
Okay.
welcome.
Talk to you
Wow.
soon.
Yes,
Thanks.
See you next week.
All right.
nice talking to you each. Have a wonderful time.
That's good. Bye-bye now.
Bye.
Bye.
Tienes que salirte del meeting, no sé cómo, porque es que no puedes.
Lisa, you want to give me control back so I can just go ahead and turn the recording off?